Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Maniac. Episode 8 is called The Lake of the Clouds. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So yeah, this was very much two episodes split in, or one episode split in two.
Yeah, I've figured out why, or at least I think why.
You think why? Go on then, wow me.
So, up until this point, almost every episode that I can have, it was definitively Annie's or Owen's, or, okay, it was the Doctor episode, right? It was definitively one or the other. And like bits of the other one would it be in them, sure, but last episode was very much Annie's episode. I think this one was very much Owen's. And I think that was their logic for splitting it. I don't really agree with it, especially given as the title of last episode was said in this episode.
Yeah, plus I think thematically though, this felt like it was the end of the two episodes.
Oh, it did. It's definitely one episode, really. But I think that's why they split it. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, because let's say there's not a bunch of Annie stuff. It cuts back to her every so often. She's talking to her sister, and she's trying to convince her that there's that they're in her head. It's not real. And she's like, so you're telling me that you're sane and everyone else is insane? All the people, all the elves, all the orcs, and she starts like, don't list them. And she's just, like, I'm with you, Annie. But they go to the Lake of Clouds, and they eventually get there at the end. There's just basically just a lot of travelling there for the most part until they get there.
Yeah, Annie's confused because apparently this is usually just a scam.
Mm-hmm.
But she gets there and it's like, look at the invisible moon, but it's invisible, so just, oh, look at that, I can see it, it's that way. But this time there actually is a moon.
There's like two Star Wars jokes I can make here at this juncture, but I'm not going to because I'm classy. So
you are not classy.
So they get to the lake, and it's actually where her sister died. It's the same, cliff face and the lake at the bottom.
Yeah.
And she has to accept it. This is the confrontation, as it were, confronting our own inner turmoil. And that's when, because there's a couple of small bits with the scientists, but there's not a lot. And we get the one scene with Greta and Gary, and Greta is very kind of worried and panicky and wants out. She's terrified about what she's going to do. She understands that she's doing this thing, and this seems to confirm that she has been kidnapping people, and that's what the McMurphys are. Actually, someone in the comments pointed out what McMurphy's probably a reference to. It's actually a really neat reference to a film. I'm not going to say what it is though, because I know Connor's not seen it, and giving him the name and why it's a reference to this would probably spoil the ending of that movie. So I'm not going to do it.
I'm going to Google this as soon as we're off air, right?
No, you shouldn't, because I know it's not going to be that long till you're watching it.
Oh, okay. That changes things.
It's not like next week or anything like that, but it's in the...
We have it scheduled, is what you're saying.
It's scheduled for some time in the next... Let's just call it 6 months.
Huh.
Do you know what the sad part is we're going to watch this movie, someone's going to say, oh, you're McMurphy, and he's just going to go, that's it! And I'm like, shit, he's remembered the name.
Yeah.
And you're
it's going to be
like,
a whole moment.
Oh, damn. Anyway, so they get to the lake, and Gertie shows up, the Queen Elf version of her shows up, and basically says, hey, you don't have to go back to the real world. You can stay here and be here forever and not have to worry about anything. It's the carrot, right? It's the mesmerizing carrot. Take the LSD.
That's a dream. Stay in the fantasy world.
Exactly. And because she thinks she's going to get to stay with her sister, she kind of agrees. But then Gertie, being a sneaky con artist, just like Annie is in real life, turns out, oh no, this was just for you. You don't get to stay with her. You're coming on your own. This is an exclusive deal. So this ends with that. And of course, at this point, Owen's flying in as a hawk.
I think that's our cue to rewind.
Yes, we'll right this out, but Owen's flying in as a hawk, and he's like, Annie, I'm coming, I'm going to save you. And then Gertie's like, no, I control this Inception world, and just makes the hawk die.
Zaps him, yeah.
He just sort of falls into the water. Poor Owen Hawk. So
yeah, okay, rewind.
Yeah, so Owen. So he's with, obviously there's scenes with the other stuff as well, but I want you to go to the scene where he's with the girl first. They're studying, and she talks about her ex-boyfriend, how he freaked out and he was paranoid and thought she was with the FBI or the CIA and was listening to him and spying on him and reporting back. And of course, that's exactly what Owen was when he had his freak out with this girl.
I like that he kind of defends him a little bit. It's like, well, maybe he was just under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, maybe it was hard for him to apologize, and maybe it was easier to just go away and
forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very on the nose. As is a lot of the other stuff. So I mean that seems really well done. And again, there's also a little thematic touches. Like she points out that you're not what you seem to be. Like you've got all the tattoos and stuff. You got the grill, but you're actually like a really smart guy. You're a thinker. You're not this tough idiot.
Yeah.
So again, books but not been the covers, so on and so on. And he eventually wants to run away with her after the big incident, which is he goes back to his dad. His dad thinks his brother was the rat and has killed him. So then
with a drill.
Yeah, with a drill, and he's all excited because he's got this new battery charger, so they can always put the can always swap the batteries out. So as a system, so he never runs out of drill power, and he runs to his the sister-in-law police officer, and he's like freaking out because he's like, and they're actually not sure if his brother was also an informant for someone else. Like, was he maybe with Interpol or something like that? He was someone else?
It could have been, and Owen's like, how do you not know? And they're just like, not our problem.
And Jed shows up.
Yeah.
And kills who he actually is also going to marry in this world. He's actually still engaged to Adelaide in this world.
Yeah.
He takes the ring off of her, and he basically, it turns out there was something of an infernal affairs thing that went on here, where his dad, he says he abandoned this other brother when he was a kid, but it turns out the reason why he did that is because he wanted him to become a cop and secretly be undercover for the mob.
Yes,
we
needed a cop in the bloodline.
Yes, that's how he puts it. Which by the way, the gun blasts here were very amusing. How much blood splatter again?
So over the top.
Yes, not as over the top, of course, as when the other guy, the guy who worked for his dad, who was giving him the pills, shows up, and turns out that he's an undercover cop, and he shotguns Jed in the midsection, and it completely splits him in half. And
shotguns him in half.
He shotguns him in half. Yes, that is an exact.
That's not an exaggeration.
Yes,
that is literally what happens.
That is reciting the events as they transpired. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And he's just lying there in the sink or the whatever it is, the top half of his body.
Sink. Yeah.
It's very, very amusing. But so again, the idea that he's the one who comes in and ruins this, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. Like there's some stuff where it almost feel like is Jed like. Obviously represents himself in the sense that he was going to marry Adelaide and he's kind of always there to sort of ruin things. But at the same time, the idea that Jed in this scene says, I was always envious of you because you were with the family. I always wanted that. And he's like, being with me's not that great. And I almost wondered if it was kind of flipping them there for a second where in real life, maybe Owen kind of was jealous that he was this perfect son, and maybe he kind of wanted that, even though he also wanted to be independent. It was kind of like a pulled in two directions kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And what I thought was interesting as well actually is the scene with the dad before this, during the drill conversation when he actually says the title of the last episode. At one point he gets very meta, and it's almost like he's trying to provoke him into realizing to become self-aware. Where he says something along the lines of, wouldn't it be crazy if this was all just, inside, your head? And this was all
a simulation.
A simulation, yeah. It was like he was trying to provoke a reaction. It's almost like that's what the girl was doing as well. She was trying to remind him, like, hey, remember this. This was you. Think of this.
Yeah, it goes with, how I was talking about last episode with Annie, kind of that. You have to kind of become conscious to understand it. You have to realize it as it's happening. You can't just have it happen to you.
And what's funny,
to be aware of it and be informed when you make your decisions.
With Owen, it takes him a long time because after this, the cops like, I'm going to save you. You're going to get witness protection before you testify and whatnot. He's like, I want to take someone with me. And he goes and picks her up and into the restaurant. And he's like, hey, you need to come with me. Marry me. I love you. Let's go. Let's run away together. Get new names. And there's some hesitation, but she does agree. And we actually cut to years, almost implying as if he actually spent a decade or something like that in this world.
I think so. Given going back to much earlier conversations episodes ago, I think it was with Annie in her interview where she mentions that it felt like she lived entire lifetimes, and
Yeah.
she remembers it like and um, the the doctor asked us, "Oh, so do you remember your entire lives together with Owen?" And she was
Mm.
like, "Yeah, everything."
And what I think is very interesting is that when it cuts ahead to the future when he has like 8 kids
I think it
with,
was seven.
was it
But,
7 kids? Whatever, it's a lot of kids, too many. But his apartment here with her and all these kids is about the same size of his actual apartment. And
yeah,
what I liked about this is almost him imagining his life. If he hadn't freaked out and he had pursued this girl, this might have been his life with her, having these kids in this tiny apartment. And realizing that he wouldn't have been fulfilled. Had he just given in and done what his parents wanted to, and been with this girl, she's not actually a plant, she's not actually spying on him or anything like that. But if he'd actually just went along with it anyway and kind of went down this path, he might still have just been miserable anyway. He wouldn't have been happy with this life.
yeah, it probably would have been a bigger apartment because it'd have gone with the family money in
Representation.
this scenario.
This is
Yeah,
representing
of
things.
course.
I do love now there's a running gag though where he tries to commit suicide, but he doesn't realize there's like a ground or a skylight or whatever like just down below.
I feel like this one he does, and because he jumps out and he drops down. It's a lot of the little models,
Mm-hmm.
and then she sticks her head out the window and goes, "Do you have to be so dramatic?" Like he just did it as a point.
Regardless, when he stood back up and he'd literally just fallen, like a foot out the window, I just laughed
Yeah.
because it was basically the same thing again. Where he tried to jump and there was just that wasn't the way to the ground. And of course, this is the moment where he gets the little model and he's realizing because obviously the tree in the fantasy land and then here there's the bonsai tree from the lab, and he's remembering the promise that Annie made, like hey, we're going to look after each other, and this is when he becomes self-aware. And he becomes the hawk and flies off. And
Yeah, this show has actually been much more straightforward than I thought it was going to be. And then he becomes a hawk.
I want to say that he takes longer to become self-aware, but because he's become self-aware and because he thinks differently to Annie and other people, he basically has gained some kind of control. Or at least his desire to enact his plan, because he always thinks he's like a spy or something. He always thinks he's got an important mission. His desire to do his thing is so powerful that he became a hawk.
It's true. Do you know what is surprising?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something we expected a lot earlier on. We haven't had him be a spy yet.
Not yet. That's how he saves her.
There's time, but
he's going to save her by being a
sense,
spy. Yeah.
He's going to
He's going to infiltrate and he's going to save her. But what I liked about this actually is when he flies off, he basically says, "Sorry, I have to go," and he flies off. It just cuts to the wife just giving him the finger. "You're leaving me with 7 kids."
Yeah. Pretty much. I don't blame her. Yeah,
no,
you go be a hawk, you dick.
So he flies. We actually get this over-the-shoulder shot of the hawk flying through different climates, and then he finally gets through the frozen mountains, and he eventually gets to the fantasy land. And the whole time you're hearing his narration going, "I'm coming, Annie. I'm coming to get you. Hold on. I'm going to help you."
It's insane. I love it.
Yeah. So we end with this big thing, and obviously, I'm expecting her not to wake up, and I think they're going to make a conscious choice to put him back under so he can go and save her. I think that's probably where this has to go, right?
That makes sense. I think, Greta will be able to explain that Gertie's been taken. It's not a malfunction. It's not things going wrong. It's Gertie actively taking them and keeping them under. And that's why they'll have to maybe use the connection.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the idea that he has to fight back someone trying to control him also plays into the themes of his character with his family. So all that's all that's very neat. Yeah. But yeah, it's worth mentioning he is not happy at all in this world. But every time he was married to Annie, I mean, okay, the seance one, they weren't exactly a happily married couple, but there was passion there, if nothing else. There was passion. And then
no, I think they've never been happily married. I mean, the thing in the one in the 80s. He's reading a book on how to make things better.
Yeah,
like there are always problems, but he's actively trying to fix them. In that one, in the seance one, there are problems, but there's still the attraction for sure.
Yeah. Whereas this one where it cuts to the future and he's got all these kids, he just looks miserable. He just looks,
Yeah.
this is enough of this. So as much as this has not been an outright comedy the whole time, I do kind of want a joke now in the final episode. Obviously, we've got two left, by the way. I'm not thinking the next one's the last one, but I want a joke in the final one where he's a spy, where he jumps off a building or something only to land 3 foot below, or he finally succeeds and makes a big jump.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think it's to maybe he gets stuck and then to wake himself up, he has to almost kill himself in the world. So he has to jump and actually make the jump to shock himself awake.
Or he assumes it's his superpower and he'll jump off of something really high and no one will be fine. Something will be there no matter what.
Yeah,
something will be there.
I want the jump.
But I want to jump.
That's what we're saying. Yeah,
he has to jump. Yes, has to be jumping. Yes. So no, it's. Do you know what I like about it? I like that Annie kind of got further quicker, right? She kind of got to this place where she was accepting that she was getting better, and she was kind of hopeful for being better. But then when she was tempted with the sister, like, you can stay in this fantasy world, she gave in and went for it. And I like the idea that Owen took much longer. Owen was much more broken, but because of who he is, once he did become self-aware, once he did make that choice, he's actually going to be stable enough to go in and try and help her.
Yeah, I think it's actually Gertie misanalyzing him. She thinks, that okay, Annie wants a sister. That worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
For him, she thinks, oh, he wants a family. But we know that's not quite true. Because a lot of this is, the two of them going, oh, we could be this little family. We could do this. We'll run away together, and that's what happens. He's miserable. Gertie misjudged because we know he just wants someone. Wants two people looking out for each other.
Yeah,
and it's similar, but it is different, and I think that's where Gertie's misjudged, and that's why he can.
Do you know what I think part of it is? I think, two people looking out for each other. We talked about how the marriages weren't perfect in those dream worlds. I think having the warts and having it not be perfect is part of it, because that's what gives it struggle. That's what gives it, stuff to grow through. And I think for him, because his family is so obsessed with being this fake, perfect image of what a family's supposed to be, and they corrupt and they cheat to present that image. I think the idea is that he doesn't want this perfect image because he doesn't believe it exists. He wants the struggle because that's what makes it real.
It could be, yeah.
At least
makes sense.
On a subconscious level, at the very least. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so no. So yeah, put this with the last one, and it's pretty solid time.
Yeah, just wish they weren't split.
Yes, should have been 9 episodes with these two just spliced together. That's all we wanted. But hey, larger scheme of things, not a big deal, but solid. So looking forward to the last two. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv, and you can do that over there. We just had 121 Extra go up, which is a exclusive monthly show. It alternates with Almost Cancelled Extra month to month, and they're like discussion shows about movie and TV topics, and you can get those for $1. There's 4 of them up now total, so you can go and have a look at those if you want. Also, we're getting towards the end of this, so I'll just quickly say that it's now only about another week and a half until The Haunting of Hill House, which I'll be doing on my own because Connor's on vacation. And then a couple of weeks later, Sabrina and Castlevania are launching on Netflix, and Sabrina got a full trailer today, which was very good. So go have a look at that trailer if you've not. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?